it's Catherine Mora here. I'm a book coach and I just have a few minutes spare this morning unexpectedly, so I thought I would do a live. I wanted to talk to you about why today or now is not the right time to write your book and how to carve out the time. So basically almost everyone that comes to me wants to write a book, but they're not ready to start yet. They don't have enough time, they need to finish a project, they need to renovate their study, they need to wait till the children are at school, they need to wait until they've moved house, they need to wait until their partner has finished doing their project, and basically they want to wait until the timing is right. And what I would say is that the time is never going to be right to write your book, because it's a bit like when you want to have children and people say, I want to wait till we have enough money to have children. I remember my mum saying, you will never have enough money to have children, just have them. So writing a book is kind of the same, and it is a bit like a baby because it needs commitment and time and attention and love and nurturing. And you have to make a commitment to write your book, and you just need to decide that the time is now. Because apart from that, the conditions are never going to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to fall into place. You have to make it fall into place and you have to make it happen. So I wanted to talk about some ideas on how you can carve out the time to write your book. And I've taken a few notes here. So basically, depending on what motivates you, sorry, this is a very squeaky chair. I want you to think about why you want to write the book. So, you know, the message that you want to share with people. And the sense of achievement that you'll have when it's done. It's the best feeling in the world. When you write the end on your first draft, you feel like you've climbed a mountain, and you've climbed a book mountain, because it is hard to finish a book. Getting started is hard enough, obviously, and then the keeping on going part is even harder, and that's why so many people don't finish. They write a chapter or write some notes, and then it sits on their cyber shelf for 6 months and doesn't get touched. And so that sense of achievement is great because you know you've done something amazing despite how busy you are, or despite the fact that time wasn't right. So, you know, there are different things that can motivate you with writing your book. So for some people it's avoiding pain. They don't want to wake up one day and go, damn, I wish I'd written that book. I wish I'd started when I said I was going to start. Think about the credibility it'll give you in your industry. It'll give you something to potentially use to get PR. Not necessarily everyone can get, you know, media and coverage, but I worked for 15 years in PR and marketing, and, you know, I'm good at spotting an angle that someone can use, but having a book that's come out, especially if it's a new and different take on something, is a great way that you can get public relations, you know, media coverage or guest blogs or speaking gigs. And these are things that do propel you and give you credibility. But the last thing that you could think about, and this is what motivates most of my clients, and that is the people who you'll be helping, because you'll be putting your own unique message out into the world. People will be emailing you saying, that's amazing, I love it, you changed my life. You know, there's always going to be a hater or two, but realistically, you're going to change people. And, you know, I wrote a novel, which isn't a life changer for anybody, but 3 years later, I still get emails almost every week with how much people enjoyed it. So imagine when, you know, my clients, or when you are writing a book that is about something different, that's, you know, self-help, or a memoir of sharing your story and your pain, that is the kind of thing that people years later will still be messaging you saying, oh, I love that, you know. So let's talk about how you carve out the time. Just moving the camera a bit there. So my ideal is that you write 7 days a week for at least 15 minutes. And that's so that you really maintain momentum. And 15 minutes isn't really very long. And all you need to do is, if you're tired and you're stressed out, you're exhausted, you don't need to write for more than 15 minutes if you don't want to. You just make sure you sit there for 15 minutes, you type a few things, and then you can go and watch TV or put your feet up or do whatever. But at least you've done it and you've just kept in that habit. And the more you write, the more you will enjoy it. And you just get yourself into that habit of writing every day. Before you know it, the book will be done. You know, don't watch TV for 3 months and just make a decision. You know what, I'm going to do this book. It's way more important than Outlander. Okay, well, nothing's really that much more important than Outlander, but something else is not important. I'm not going to watch that for a few months. I'm just going to get my book done. You could try delegating 1 or 2 things on your to-do list to someone who loves you and who supports you. You know, your partner, your parent, your relative, your really good friend. Get them to take the kids to the park or do the shopping, or just do something that you would normally do, and then make sure you actually commit that time to writing. And, you know, this is once a week or something. So now that's my ideal, is writing a little bit every day. Even if you're very busy, we can find the time. I actually read about a woman who wrote a page a day for a year. She had 5 children, and she spent 10 minutes or something writing 1 page every day. And after a year, her book was done. And it's pretty amazing. It's a bit long for me. You know, 3 to 4 months is ideal, but it's better than not doing it and not getting it done. So you don't have excuses. If you don't have 5 minutes a day, you don't have a life. But if you did have 5 to 10 minutes a day, here are some other ideas that you could do. After your shower and before you get dressed in the morning. Better still, if you get up 15 minutes earlier and just write it before you do anything else. After lunch, before you go back to work, if you have a job. On your lunch break would be even better. After work, but before your daily commute, or on your commute. So if you catch the train or the bus, and you can sit there on your laptop. I did that at one stage too, that can work. During commercials, if you are watching TV, better still, as I said, don't watch TV for a while. Right before you go to bed. If you take your laptop with you, most places you go, if you're self-employed, perhaps you do that anyway, you'd be amazed how often you can find time. When I was writing my book, I had to get my new tyres or something done to the car, and I sat there while the mechanic or whatever was working on it, and I sat there on my laptop and worked there. So you'd be surprised how much time you can find once you make the commitment. And when you are writing, you need to make it effective. So firstly, make sure you have an outline so that you're never sitting down to a blank page. You're never lost for what am I going to talk about or what am I going to write about. You have an outline for every chapter. You have bullet points, you know, with what's going to be in every chapter. And then I always have a column, like when I do my chapter outline, I have a column for what the takeaway of that chapter is going to be. So what are people going to think or feel, you know, by the end of the chapter. Make sure you turn your phone on silent. It's a bit of a no-brainer, but that is always a distractor. The ping, 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 when you need that dopamine fix of checking your messages, you go down rabbit holes. Turn your phone on silent. Close the internet, same problem. If you're writing a book, you always should keep a notepad next to you, and that way you can keep notes of things that you need to check later or you need to research. Don't research as you're going, because you will go down a rabbit hole. Book time for writing into your diary. I book time. I'm not writing a book at the moment, so I book time into my diary for going to the gym, because otherwise people are inevitably going to book a call with me and then I'll go, oh, can't go to the gym. So every single day I have got an hour and a half, which gives me time to go to a class and come back. So just remember why you are writing. Think about the people who are going to read your book, whose lives you are potentially going to change. Think about the message you're sharing. Think about raising your profile, gaining credibility, raising your rates, getting speaking gigs. You can change the game with a book, and there is no better time to start than right now, because you are the only person who's going to make it happen. You are the only person who's going to write the book. You are the person who has to make a decision that you're going to do it. Whatever motivates you, put that in front of you and then just go. 3 or 4 months later, your book will be done. Obviously, there are options out there if you want to do something much quicker. It's not my jam. I believe in doing something quality. Still, 3 or 4 months is still quite a big pace, but I think it's great momentum and it's still contained into a relatively small window of time. So if you're ready to write your book, I'm happy to have a chat. We can talk about, you know, your book, your audience, how your book's going to fit in with your business. I like it to be strategic and to have a reason. It could just be a bucket list goal, and that's a good thing too. I have a couple of clients who are just writing a book because they just want to do it and they're really committed. Either way, you've got to be committed. But if you're committed and you're prepared to cut out the time, then send me a message, because if you're feeling overwhelmed, I can be there to hold your hand, yay, maybe not literally, through the whole thing. Just message me, we can chat. I can tell you if I'm the right person to help you. If I'm not, I'll make some other suggestions. I love helping people get to the milestone of writing their book. I've been moved to tears so far by some of my clients' writings when I've read something that they've written in the way that they've written it because of my suggestions. It makes me feel amazing. So I do get something out of it while I'm helping that person, and I love that. I love helping people achieve their dreams, and writing a book is a dream that lots of people have, and I think now is the time to do it. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to getting your messages and to talking to you in my next live. Bye.